Third meeting in Windsor Planning Commission to order. Remind everybody this proceedings are recorded and that we operate on an agenda system. Any business brought before us would need to be submitted a week ahead of time for the agenda. Hopefully everybody had good holidays and were able to enjoy. So I guess everybody had a chance to review the minutes from October. Yeah, because in November was not on. So I can't remember back that far, so I assume Dave, you notice any?
I think I was good with them
Okay.
when I was ready in November.
Yeah. Okay. So, not can I get a motion to accept October's 24th minutes? Motion by Ryan Christensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Okay.
All those in favor?
Oh, yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks for reminding me. It's been a while since I've run a meeting. Okay, Abigail, you have any updates from the county?
Yeah, a few. So let's see. In a couple days, they're going to be approving the fall 22 updates to the water and sewer master plan. Let's see. Yep. And actually, I was talking to Price yesterday, and he was thinking of coming in like that on next meeting to talk about this. Would that be okay with you guys?
Yes, that'd be great.
Yeah, because he can answer questions about that way more than I can. But I can't answer questions about the transportation master plan. Not that I think that would be very relevant to you guys. I'm working on that. It's something we're going to be working on February and March. The focus is on planned major streets, so I'm making lots of maps for that.
Okay.
So I do have some questions on that.
Oh, perfect.
And I pulled it up and you see what happened to my computer. I don't know. I can't read anything on it now. But there was, and I think it was, I wanted to be prepared for you, and it's not. Let me try and bring it up again. So under the planned roadway projects in Chapter 6, there is a list of projects, and there is two of them listed for New Windsor. One is Frederick County line, New Windsor Route Maryland 31 in New Windsor, Frederick County line to New Windsor town limits.
So it's Maryland 31.
So Maryland 31.
Oh, is that under planned major streets or planned neighborhood connections?
That was
Planned major road projects.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so it has that stretch from
town limits.
Frederick County line to New Windsor town limits, which is approximately, I don't know, 3.5, 4 miles at the most.
Probably, I would say.
At the
no
most.
more.
And it's $41.8 million.
Mm-hmm.
And the text above it talks about it costs about $1.9 million per mile for a 2-lane road. So those prices do not jive at all. And my concern about that is they're looking at New Windsor, a 4-mile stretch of road that's going to cost $41 million. And so that something is amiss there.
Okay.
So I was hoping that you would be able to check in on that. Now,
I don't have anything to do with the price estimates and such.
Mhm.
But, let me email you about that. Let me ask Mary probably.
now in the map that's attached to that, it shows projects it shows Maryland 31 highlighted on both sides of New Windsor. So Frederick to New Windsor coming in this way, and then New Windsor out towards Westminster only to about Uniontown Road. It also has that highlighted, but there is no project listed for that portion, so I don't know.
I think that's Maryland 84, because it's Maryland Route 84 that goes off of 75. All the
Oh, is
way-
that what? Okay.
Yeah, that
Oh.
goes all the way over to Old.
Oh, I see,
That
I
goes
see.
all the way over to
Okay,
Old
so that
Town.
is not the case then.
Yeah,
So it
it's
is
separate.
just that,
It's just the pricing looks wrong.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, for that one. The second, okay, and the second project is our streetscape, which they have shown about 4.4 million. So I think that's the latest that the state has put in for that. And Mayor Roop is working to get that increased. But I did want to have that $41.8 million checked. Okay, secondly, as I reviewed this, I see that under planned major streets, it has Springdale Avenue relocated. Okay, so, and that is on the list, and they talk, the reline will replace the current intersection of Springdale with 31 to create blah, 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 blah. Well, that was when they were going to put the roundabout up by the 7-Eleven during our streetscape project, which was, it was about a, I don't know, a $10 million price tag to do that roundabout, and they threw it off the map. So they're not doing that. So I'm not sure why Springdale relocation is still included in a planned project, even though it's low on the list. I'm not sure why it's still there. I think it's number, I don't know what it was.
Because the thing with the planned major streets is these exist on paper and they're theoretical. Some of these have been on paper since the 60s without really any motion to make them happen. So it's probably related to that fact.
Okay, that's,
Actually, right now, the current maps I'm doing are to look at the environmental constraints for the feasibility of actually making these roads. So I think it probably could be communicated better in the
Okay.
transportation master plan that that's.
yeah, it's under a planned major street, county and municipal, number 13, Springdale Avenue relocated. I'm not sure what the value then of having a document like this if stuff is that old that it's not relevant. But anyway, I wanted to bring it to your attention that Springdale Avenue relocation was nixed when they nixed the roundabout through our streetscape project.
Okay, I'll pass that on to, Mary and Claire.
Okay, all right. Thank you. That's all I had on that document.
Those are questions, we definitely want the price to be right.
Okay.
I would think.
Well, especially if somebody looks at $41 million and says, what, are they out of their mind? And just like,
Right, right.
I notice it said on here that 1.9 million is just an estimate and doesn't include any right-of-way engineering or account for any inflation, so.
I got that, but I'm looking at that stretch from the county, the Frederick County line to the town limits is about as easy project
Pretty much
as
a
you
straight-
can do, right?
About as straight a shot.
Yeah.
And I don't know what,
Yeah, so I'm not sure where they came up with that price. And compared to some of the other projects that they had in there, it was very high priced.
Yeah.
So I think it was, it's incorrect number.
what's, Ryan, roughly the inflation index for projects is at,
It doesn't make sense. That's
yeah.
way too high.
Yeah, well, that could be a typo, so thank you.
I thought it would have been like 4.1.
I was going to say, 10 million a mile is a tad high even now.
That's a little high.
Funny, I don't
Yellow brick road.
I don't know how much.
My civil engineer brother would love to get paid at that rate.
Yeah. On the items that you had, was there any replies or anything that we need to do on that end? The master plan and the annual report that we need to sign off on, or?
Because, did you guys send in the annual report? Because there's a letter you have to sign off on.
I think they did that. I think that's done.
I think we did that. I think Mark signed that letter.
That was probably in the fall, maybe.
Yes, I think you are good on that.
Okay. You have anything else then?
Not really, I mean, really just
Okay.
the transportation master plan that's happening. Hazard mitigation plan, that went through on January 9th. And they met with FEMA on the 17th, so.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking about, whether we needed to,
Oh, I mean, you
Need
should
it.
be good, because they would have reached out to you if something was
Yeah, okay.
missing. Because, I mean, that's gonna go into effect in mid-April. But, if you want, I could double check and ask.
Dave, nothing was brought up.
I think that's
Okay.
also a price question.
Okay. Dave, any update on the mission statement?
Yes. So, again, we did this. This was ready to go for our November meeting that didn't happen, but I presented the, what do we call it, our mission statement to the town council. We had a discussion about it at the meeting. No one had any real impetus to change any of the verbiage in the current mission statement. And then, as a matter of fact, they made a motion to support, they made a motion and voted to support the current vision statement as written. So that's what they did. So that vision statement that we have in the document will remain the vision statement that we work towards.
That was in the.
That's in the comprehensive plan.
Comprehensive plan,
Yes.
okay.
I don't have the picture.
Okay, so,
So that's complete then.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. No change.
And was that a meeting in November?
We were supposed to meet in November, and we didn't have a quorum, so we did not meet.
Well, we did it at the
We did that
council
at
meeting
the-
in November, or the work
council-
session.
Yes.
I don't remember which
Yeah,
one.
the council or the work session in November, yes.
Couldn't report on it because we weren't here.
Town breakfast, everybody that attended, I think had a pretty good time. Dave?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was up at Magnolia. And I know all those that went had a great time. The food was very nice. The room was great. And I think we had a good time. I would encourage y'all to be able to
Yeah, after all
make it,
these years,
to attend. There was a good time.
after all these years, it was the first for my wife and I to attend, and we really enjoyed ourselves. And
They did us up.
okay, continuation of our review of the comprehensive plan. I don't know what you want to wait for Mark to return, or you want to work on a few of the?
Well, we were, as far as my record shows, we were.
We stopped at page 53.
Yeah, I had started into chapter 6, page 51. Abadell was to get some data for that.
Were we waiting on the county for some of the figures? Do you remember, Emily, were we waiting for some,
And Abigail sent those, and I did send the updated graphs.
yeah, you switched to the pie, which,
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Ryan, did you get, okay.
it's on the population.
Yeah. And I think there's still some question about the status and the accuracy of the census data.
Yeah, I know that seemed to be off.
Oh, are you talking about like the current estimates or the like last official census?
I guess the current estimates. I
Yeah, I'll
know-
talk to Kathleen about that. She's the one who kind of aggregates that for us, the current estimates.
Yeah, I go once a week and sort of refresh the page and nothing looks,
Nothing is,
Well, yeah, I've heard there's an understanding issue.
yeah, because it was, they couldn't go and enumerate in person because of COVID.
Right.
yeah.
I guess there's not much we can do about that.
No,
That's too bad.
statisticians with a lot more experience than I have will have to.
Yeah.
I noticed on the last comprehensive plan, it's Census Bureau plus Bureau permits and inspections, so evidently they kind of reached a happy medium.
Oh, okay. That's
Uh,
interesting.
So, what appears that they strictly don't use the U.S. Census Bureau for their information. So, what do you have, Dave?
So that was the charts that went on to page 53 that Emily redid and sent to us. And I kind of, according to my notes, that's about where we stopped.
Now, this one table has the projections. Is that something that would change anything?
Population projections on page 55?
Page 55. Is that something that needs to be touched, or?
Well, that's why I did have a question there. Is there new data for those? And I don't, I don't know, according to the source for that, on the bottom of that chart,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's been new census data provided to the county.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll relay that Kathleen, she be able to answer that.
Okay, so she can,
Yeah, Kathleen Comer.
all right. Emily, do you recall, did we update any text on page 54?
So my page is different now. What is your surrounding page?
So we had those two charts, the population growth projections, and then it went into discussing units added to the unincorporated area,
Size of households.
build-out analysis, population growth scenarios.
I see some deleted text at the beginning of that chapter, but nothing significantly changed. No, just the stuff deleted at the beginning of the chapter, and then notes that the public school stuff will need to be updated to reflect current enrollment numbers.
Have written in here, this is with the addition of the additional people within the current municipal boundaries, the growth would go up to like 1,150 people. Could grow by approximately 1,150 people once all the land. I don't know how accurate.
Right, and the stuff about the sewer system needing to, capacity needing to be updated will need to be changed based on the updates that have been made.
Michelle, I'm assuming those, are you looking at page 54?
No, I am.
Okay, I'm assuming
I
those.
was reading ahead.
Okay, those 3 paragraphs there are probably all inaccurate, and probably the whole page, including
All
some
right, now
verb.
I'm
Because,
going to do an Emily. Because my 54 has a very large chart in the middle and about 10 lines of text. So give me, is it like,
okay,
It would be the,
when added
Topic.
with 623 additional people,
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
I
That
got it.
paragraph, so that paragraph and maybe one before.
I don't think
and the
any
two
of that's
after,
accurate anymore.
I would say that can't be
Can't
accurate
possibly be with everything that's
with,
going on
with
up
the
the
new
hill.
development, because that wasn't even around,
Yeah.
even a
And
thought.
there's some, that's one of the things I was looking at, future capacities, and they're talking about 10 years to build out. Well, you're perilously close to build out right now.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I think all of those are passé.
So they were basing it on 199 units, well, we didn't reach near that. I don't know what the,
Well, so this may have included the development at the top of the hill.
Yeah, whatever it's called
Certainly,
now.
it didn't
Didn't include Snyder.
Snyder Summit, so.
And I think actually even I've lost track of what its name is, the reserve,
Yes.
was in the very early planning stages. I don't even know if those numbers were incorporated in this, whatever it was, 12
Right.
years ago when we did it.
About 82,
Yeah.
maybe 83.
okay, so then that probably wouldn't have been, because I'm not sure how many's in.
Well, see, there was a couple different scenarios for
Yeah,
the
it
reserve, right?
changed like 3
And
different
so,
times.
yeah, what did we end up, 80-some?
Yeah.
80-some
The
units?
reserve, I think, is 88 max, but I'm not sure they built all 88.
So this is the billable land index?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard, because, actually, I remember a few months ago, you guys asking me about that, and, Linda Eisenberg asked me to, kind of hold back on doing anything with that, because it sounds like they're getting the new numbers together that are more accurate.
There isn't much left.
Well, no, so
No.
Snyder's is gonna be done, and what, that was 128 or
Something like that. 7.
units, and whatever we have at the reserve, 83.
That's very close to what.
That's not too
Yeah,
far
not too
off
far
of
off, yeah.
the 199 that they
And
were.
the 1 or 2 odd lots through town, and then this possible 4 over on Lambert, that I don't know how the heck could possibly be 4.
Yeah, because the GIS layer we have, for example, is showing buildable land plots, because, it shows dots on the map. It's showing dots where there are houses already, so that's why I can't really list those out
Okay.
and give them to you yet, because that would, like you said, be passé.
Yeah.
All right, so
Well,
that,
what do we have to do to get this accurate now? I mean, is that us? Is that you? Is that a combo
Yes.
platter?
Yes.
Good, we like anything that's you.
So those few,
and that will be you updating buildable lots through your
Yeah.
GIS thing, okay.
Oh, buildable land index.
Buildable-
I wouldn't
buildable
personally
land.
be updating them because I don't make the layers, but the county would.
Okay. All right. And then the next page with that census data, you said they'll take care of that.
what you thinking on those paragraphs?
So which ones are you looking at?
That their formula for adding the, that's kind of,
The population
yeah, that's
projections?
kind of
We-
moot, I mean, that's.
Yeah, we can't do really anything with those all the way through, I would say, scenario 4,
Until we get information.
until we get, more data.
Okay.
So I think everybody, just to pull us all together, we're looking maybe at that number indented 5, where it says land area needed to satisfy demand for development. That's, I think, where we
Oh, okay.
right now.
So this, 16 acres, more or less, that has been zoned R1 or R2, is that? Where the parcel is, or is that total?
Assuming that's the
Is
total.
that some, like the built-out lots that are still?
No, because we would never have that many. We would never have that much land. I'm assuming that that's currently what we have, because then it talks about, you know, the R3 has 110 acres devoted to it. So that would probably point to one of those maps that that Abigail did for us.
Yeah, let me, just out of curiosity, dig out my charts and see what the acreage corresponds to.
Okay.
Is that acreage in the growth boundary areas?
I would think that that's kind of the land use in total, right? Not just the growth area boundary, but everything that would include. It's, from what I'm reading, it looks like we have
I think that
110
makes more sense.
acres here and 16 acres here. And so if Emily found that chart, we could see if they were still accurate in those categories.
And that is what I'm opening right now, if my laptop would cooperate. Yeah, it's got a little Windows. Oh, no, I hate that.
Trying to open map number 1.
Yeah, so R1 and R2 looks like total is slightly more than 16, but that's within the growth area boundaries. If we go to, okay, so if we go to within, at the time the report was written, it would have been 16 within the town limits.
Okay,
It's now 21.
okay. How about R3?
R3 is currently, based on what Abigail sent, 131.
Where do these extra acres come from?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
You know, that old chestnut about land, they ain't making any more of it? Except in New Windsor. I mean, it had to come from another category, but I don't know,
Well,
I would think.
is there anything showing up for R5?
R5 is 48.
48 acres?
Mhm.
And R10?
Just under 4. 3.8.
R5 would have been the Snyder parcel?
I think so. And maybe 10 is that little dot on Lambert. It's the only place I can think of that would possibly allow for that many houses on that little bitty spot.
Bizarrely, even Village Center increased by almost 20 acres.
Maybe the initial calculations were wrong. Maybe we got a new surveyor.
Yeah, I was hoping that the numbers would jive.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah,
That might be
so
something we need to ascertain.
Oh, you're looking at the old numbers then.
Well, yeah, I've got 2010, and then I've got next to it the numbers you gave me.
Do you have I'm sorry, the old numbers for
Yeah.
R3, the old number for R3?
R3, old numbers would be 106.
6, R5?
R5 would be 23.9,
And R10?
2.8.
Because we're talking about the land within the boundaries and the land within. the
Yeah, well,
neighborhood.
I'm looking at town limits, and then we've got growth area and growth area boundary.
So that was all town limits, within
Mhm.
town limits. I don't know what to say.
Well, that 2 acre would be over that parcel on Lampert Avenue.
Well,
Might count.
I
I don't
mean-
know, it's,
The numbers just don't add up.
Yeah.
All we've done that I recall with the growth area boundary, we haven't expanded it. If anything, we've contracted it a little bit to
Yeah.
pull lease out of it,
Yeah.
pull some of that lease farm out. And I don't think, in fact, I'm quite confident we haven't done an annexation into town from the growth area, despite
Yeah,
Mr.
but-
Hibbard's reappearance every 8 or 10 years.
I mean, even my chart
Oh, I-
showed the increase in land.
Who knew that we could do that here? Aren't we forward-thinking?
I mean, so you think the old numbers are wrong with the planning?
Yeah, it could very well be that the old numbers are wrong.
Yeah.
So we're about 24 acres bigger than we were from the last time, if you add up all the zones.
Got to start exercising more.
yeah,
That's
maybe
I got,
seismic activity maybe has,
I've got no explanation for that.
my yard hasn't gotten any bigger. I don't know.
no. Ryan, has Church Street gotten any higher?
I know of.
Okay, so we have some discrepancies with their data.
Yeah. Now, in terms of the charts, by the way, would it help if I did like exploding charts that do like total residential versus total industrial and then blew them up? So that you could see the breakdown within each, as well as like at a macro level?
I think that would be more helpful than a lot of the verbiage that we see, right? It would
Okay.
be helpful when you look at the plan to see those kind of things.
Okay. Because I was trying to figure out just the best way to do some of the exploding pies.
So that could replace some of this text.
I think that the text could be modified just to point at the charts, and I think the charts would be more beneficial to someone looking at a document like this that wanted to see what kind of land use we had in industrial, land use, things like that. Well, that takes care of number 5, that we have data discrepancies, and I don't know how that's going to get totally resolved.
I'll bring it up to our GIS technician, but I mean, she did check my math, and I mean, if you know Kathleen, she's very methodical, very detail-oriented. But I'll ask her what I should do, or we should do.
I'm assuming that there's a way to look at this boundary that we're including here and tell us how many acres that is,
You have a planimeter. I think so. I mean, I would hope so.
right?
I can't, but I would hope
I
somebody
mean, I would think
can.
that
I love that word, so I just throw it out whenever I can.
the county's GIS, I would assume, hey, Emily, you said this is the town, these numbers were for the town limits.
Yes.
So if the county looked at the New Windsor town limits, they should be able to tell us how many acres
Yeah.
were
Now,
included.
One difference is that for the conservation public use has gone down by about 3 acres. And employment campus has gone down by a little, almost 0.7 acres. So that may be some of that, although light industrial's gone up as well.
Yeah, because like I said, you said the county should have that information. I mean, that would be, no, I mean, that's like what I did. I went to GIS and I, calculated the acreage using the shapefile we have. So like I said, I think it's either the thing where it has to be either I'm wrong or the previous person was wrong.
Gained acreage when they converted the lagoon.
I don't think so. I mean, not
That-
acreage, because that was ours when it was a lagoon, and
Right.
maybe usable acreage,
Yes,
but
You know what I should do?
I didn't
is
know
should
whether
just
any
find
change-
something
I don't think so.
Yeah.
There's other things in section 5 also that need to be looked at, like zoning capacity might be reached closer to 2044, which I think is clearly not right, because we're almost at zoning
Yeah.
capacity right now.
they're-
So I think there's some assumptions made based on prior population growth that got put in a cocked hat given the way these two developments came in so fast. But they're they're almost the end of the line, so we might, you might want to look at that, because I'm not sure, that's a Gary question or a Wayne question, but that our biggest constraint to development is water and sewer capacity.
It's a difference,
Is that still accurate? Especially with sewer capacity. I know water's always an issue, but,
And you're gonna send me this.
yeah.
Well, so
is that the biggest constraint to development?
is the water and
Water
sewer?
and sewer, yeah.
Yes.
You still think it is?
Well, no, I would guess the biggest constraint would be the lack of land to build.
Yeah, the lack of land.
Yeah.
But this doesn't really say anything except that the biggest constraint to development is water and sewer capacity. I know they're working on that, and that actually, this says they're working on it 12 years ago or whatever. My point being simply there's additional editing that probably needs to get done in this
Yeah,
section.
well, that paragraph definitely needs, and the one above it,
And the one below it, right? The one that starts out in 2007, New Windsor began.
Yes, yeah.
So, and some of that, Gary has that information
Yeah.
about where we are.
And I don't know where they got their information saying the water system capacity would need to triple
Yeah, that,
and
Did not
the
make sense.
sewer quadruple.
for a population increase that's nowhere near triple or quadruple.
Yeah, I know, that's,
Who wrote this thing? And, they're legitimate assumptions, but they just haven't panned out.
So that whole section 5 needs to be rewritten.
Needs to be
Based upon the
looked
two
at.
developments that we have, the population growth, Gary's water and sewer estimates that we have, that all just needs to roll into there. So it's. We can move to number 6 then.
As the middle school is no longer occupied.
At least by us.
Number 6, or chapter 6.
Yeah, public services and infrastructure, where it starts.
In the public schools.
I mean, I think that first paragraph's accurate, but the second one isn't. Under A. Yeah. And I don't know what those other, Elmer Wolf and Key, I don't know how they're rated. That should be easy enough to find out, but I don't know it.
that be something the Board of Education would have that information, or
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they would.
was that?
I don't know who else.
They keep up on that pretty.
Yeah. Well, I would think that Development Review would have that information too. County, wouldn't they? I mean, they review development.
Middle school, so.
So we need data for that whole.
Yeah, I don't, how much of
Even
that's information really relevant to our master plan, considering what we've,
Especially because it sounds like you're not going to be building any more residential residences.
Not many.
Yeah, and that's usually kind of a concern. when it
Yeah.
comes to, like,
I mean,
schools.
that's something we would need to include.
I guess.
I think you would want to include schools when your topic is public services. I think you would want to include schools. And that should be easy enough just to modify that here are the schools that we're looking at, and they are or they are not adequate. I'm 97% sure they're probably both adequate. I mean, Key is not overcrowded.
Yeah, I guess the question is, and this is something that I don't know that anybody can answer, is what is the demographic change? Are more younger families going to move into this area, et cetera, especially with the impact of telecommuting and such with COVID?
Because just off the top of my head, it seems like the growth's happening. A lot of people who are moving into Carroll County move into the south part of the county, more like Mount Airy or Freedom area. So I'm not really sure what the demographics will be like up here.
I don't know, Snyder Summit is filling up.
What is?
Snyder Summit. And that's not age restricted. They are moving
Yeah.
in there.
I waited for the bus.
They're like 85% done, aren't they? Maybe more.
Yeah.
I waited for the bus, the elementary bus the other evening, and half of the bus got off at that stop.
A lot of kids going in there, huh?
You have kids at Elmer Wolf? Are any overcrowding issues or?
My wife actually taught at Elmer up until this year, and she was a first grade teacher. I want to say that she had, between her two classes, it was between 50 and 60 kids.
But not in the classroom at a
No,
time.
that's
Yeah.
two, she was a math teacher, so she had one in the morning,
Yeah,
one at
yeah.
night,
Yeah.
or one in the or afternoon. So that was between 20 and 30 students in each one of her classes. So it's
A lot of
getting,
first graders.
it's getting up there.
Yeah, yeah.
But somebody's got to be able to say if they're technically accurate or adequate or inadequate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or approaching inadequate. Because adequate is like 110%. Just kind of flies in the face of the math that I was taught when I was a kid. But
They're temporary.
I don't even really know what the designations are anymore because I haven't looked at it in a long time.
Information in here on New Windsor Middle School, I mean, that doesn't currently exist, so.
Yeah, well, we just have to take it out.
And where does it replace it with north?
Well, between
Even-
Northwest and then, what was it, Mount Airy?
Mount Airy, yeah, I guess.
Kids go to other places,
Yeah.
but
District was split up, the middle school.
So we'd need to get this data from the county for these charts that would support Elmer Wolf, the two middle schools that the New Windsor kids may go to,
yeah.
and the high school. And then this whole section then can be
Where
up.
are they going middle schoolers from here?
Apparently to northwest and Mount Airy.
Oh,
Yeah, depending on exactly where they live.
I was gonna say, that seems like
Quite a span.
unsustainable bus ride for somebody that's 12 years old.
I
Others
guess-
have made that argument before you.
But to actually do kids within the town limits go to Mount Airy?
I
I,
thought that was part of the gripe.
Well,
So I don't know.
so I'm not sure that that's the
Within the
case,
town,
right?
but maybe
Because-
within the growth
because
area.
the New Windsor
Yeah, they go down that way.
goes down Marston Road and out that way, that used to
Yeah.
come here to the New Windsor Middle School. And so they went that way and these ones went this way. But I'm not sure
I don't know.
kids within the
Oh.
town limits of New Windsor would go to Mount Airy
All
schools.
of our neighbors go to Northwest.
Right.
And see, at one time, New Windsor was a feeder for South Carroll High School, so kids that were
I
in
think you're probably
Winfield
right.
came to New Windsor. On the side of, like, the Taylorsville,
Right.
yeah, they came to New Windsor, so.
They built 27 schools in Aldersburg.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, so I guess we'd have to find that out. And then that would,
should be easy enough.
yes. Well, who gets that information for us?
I have a running list of
Okay.
things I'm going to ask various people
All
in
right.
my offices, so.
That will help. That will help.
I'll
When
work
she
on
looks
it.
at that list, she's gonna run.
Oh, well, I
I
can't.
guess that'd be.
She can parse
Maybe
it out.
State might even have those formulas, wouldn't it, Dave?
This is the list where I make some of
Only
these
that
other
they-
people's problems.
Got it
There you
from
go.
the county though, I
Yeah.
would think,
Yeah.
All right, then that takes us over to libraries.
Which you still don't have one of.
I was doing some town research, and back in the 40s and 50s, the town did have a library on the upstairs at one time
Upstairs,
in the town office.
right here
building.
next door?
Well, no, it would have been in the early 1900s.
Oh, okay, so they weren't over there
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. So, I don't know, didn't say, just reading, they were saying about, they did some upgrading to the library on the second floor. So maybe one wall might have had some books.
Yeah. Well, you try.
Yeah.
Again, I did question, but this goes back to why middle school kids are supposed to go to a middle school in Tannytown and not, someplace closer. Why are we expected to be fed by the library in Tannytown and not the one in Westminster?
Sonnytown Library's probably closer to here,
Is it really? Okay.
if you go the back way.
Yeah.
And the Westminster Library is probably from here a good 13, 15 miles.
That's like right by where I live, and it's like a 15-minute.
Yeah, it's not long, but just mileage-wise, I think it's probably farther to downtown Westminster than it is to the library in Donnytown. You live here, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Yeah, to me, it feels
I don't-
closer when
I mean, even
but
go-
it may be speed limits.
Going the back way. I don't know, because I go to Westminster so
Yeah,
often.
you don't think of it.
I only say it's like seven miles to Westminster.
It isn't.
Actually,
It's 7 miles to Pub Dog.
4 miles to Pub Dog. I know that.
Maybe what we say is within an easy drive to other libraries in the area.
Well, that's
Thereby
what's-
eliminating the
I
debate.
agree. The couple paragraphs in there really don't need to be there. They mean nothing anymore.
Yeah.
The first 3 paragraphs really, to me, have no, it's old news, it's not relevant.
because we're like 7.6 miles to Town, and let's see how far it's to.
Oh, data.
We're about 6 miles, but then again, that's just a straight line, doesn't really take into consideration the roads.
Because I drive it all the time.
So
It's
you-
farther to go into the library.
eliminating Possibly the first 3.
I think they're candidates for elimination with some verbiage like Michelle said. The area is supported by several local libraries,
Yeah.
including Westminster, Tawnytown, and, you know.
Yeah.
I would take the first 2 paragraphs out and rework the third.
And does Bookmobile still make stops in New Windsor?
I've seen it.
Oh, okay.
Neil was
I mean, I
talking
live right off
about,
college, so I see it hit the library headquarters all the time.
Oh, okay. I know they used to come up in their development for about an hour, but that was years ago. That's,
I don't know. Yeah, Neil was talking about stumping to get like half a room over here to be a library, but I don't think I'd hold my breath for that.
Yeah.
So the last paragraph is still accurate, at least what I'm reading on the first page, except we got to scratch the public meeting space is no longer there anymore. But I think it still does have that self-serve book return. Somebody was just mentioning that the other day. That you can return library books there. Yeah.
Did not know that.
So the public meeting space is not.
Public meeting space is gone.
Okay.
I didn't know the public meeting space was gone,
Yeah,
but I do appreciate the book return. Saves me from driving all the way back up there. I just have to make one trip to check out and then just walk up to return.
So what do you think about that last two sentences in that paragraph about there may be opportunities to expand computer-based library services? They're building off of what Union Bridge, remember Union Bridge did something in their community center years ago. They had set up computers in there that residents could go to, and that's taxing my brain how long ago it was, so I don't
A while.
even know if that's a thing anymore.
That's a thing. Well, now they did that enormous whatever it is at the one in Westminster. They're not going to be spending any money upgrading anything else for quite a while.
I almost think those last couple sentences could be scratched, and they're a candidate to be scratched anyway.
I have deleted them, but always undelete since I've been on the fly.
And the very last paragraph, projecting potential facility needs, I think that's, could be scratched too. I don't,
Awful lot of info.
Yeah.
we have no.
For something over which we have no
no-
control.
No control, right. Why is that in our plan? We don't.
It's funny. Paragraph 1, it says, after changing the service areas, New Windsor commuting now falls within the service of Town. And then in that paragraph, this is New Windsor lies outside of the immediate New Windsor growth. Well, okay, I see, immediate growth area. So it kind of contradicts.
This was all written before people really had access to
was-
the internet and
Yeah, I
all
was
that
going
other
to
kind
say,
of
just
stuff.
buy a
that-
Kindle.
And,
Yeah.
Stop it there.
right, how hard are you going to lobby for some of this stuff? To put in a computer facility for when probably 90% of the residents have a computer and things.
Well, I
mean,
guess it depends what you can run computers, because I know in Frederick County, you can now, use the library computers to do 3D printing.
Oh, same here, business.
Yeah.
The one in Westminster, the
Yes.
new fancy
Yes.
schmancy place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason they created those labs at Westminster,
Yeah.
cooking,
Yep.
quite a number of things that,
It's big. I haven't been in it, but it's big.
yeah.
I like books.
Yeah, I like to have hold something in my
I
hand.
like books.
Public safety, I can get it's easy to get the current statistics for public, as far as fire and EMS.
So we can get new data for those first two paragraphs, right? And how much of the second one's even accurate?
Yeah, that's,
And why do we need to know that what previously it used to be the state police?
We don't.
And
I
that
mean,
sentence should,
Yeah.
no, right,
especially since it's now many years since that happened.
right.
What about the sentence following that?
Inadequate police protection?
Yeah, based on
I
this.
don't know that I'd put that in the master plan unless I was damn sure of it.
I think this section ought to talk about what we have for our police protection, and that's what it should be.
That's what our public safety system is.
Yes. I mean, I'm not going to make a judgment on the adequacy or the inadequacy. This is what it is. This is the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
So, Michelle, is that what it's still called? The Community Sheriff Program? Is that the very first sentence?
I think it's actually called the Community Deputy Program, but that's something we'd have to confirm.
Okay. And then this paragraph really just needs to say that we have
Say that.
one officer that we share between New Windsor and Union Bridge. And then if we had some stats,
Yeah,
we could add some stats in there. That,
got them.
I mean, and that's what it is.
Fire company, and we got a cop, well, half a cop.
On the fire and EMS side, is there any reason to say that the county is in a transition period from career to volunteer, or volunteer to career? Or is that, I mean, it's in the infancy,
It's very much infancy.
yes.
Yeah, there's a long way to go before you're talking about an all career,
Yeah,
paid force.
yeah. Do you think that's something that is worth adding to the master plan, or?
I mean, I think you could put a sentence in there about what the future may look like, but again, my idea of this is not to fill it with fluff about things that could be or not going
Yeah,
to be or anything like that. I think we ought to stick to what we know is the facts, and then if we know something like that,
Yeah.
because we are
Put a
updating it
general
in
sentence that
2023.
there are, ongoing discussions about increasing the paid firefighter force or whatever they call it.
At the county level.
Yeah, at the county level. Yeah. I mean, because it is supposed to have some, at least, reflection of possible future.
Yes.
But it's starting, certainly.
Yeah.
But it's got a long way to go.
Because currently, our paid EMS are employees of New Windsor Fire
Just
Company.
you guys, yeah.
But they will transition to county employees and county benefits,
At some as of yet undetermined point
Yeah.
in the future.
county finds revenue.
Yeah, I was going to say, and what that does to all the individual companies very much remains to be seen.
So that seems to me that takes us to D, to water.
We're in sewer.
Yeah, and I'm wondering whether we need to have that twice, because we have discussion of water and sewer
Early in the,
earlier in this section, and then we discuss it again here.
Well, because this was our, what was this section called? Our adequate, what was this called? Adequate facility, is that what it was? So I'm fine with not putting it again, but I think we should leave the heading there and then point them back to where it was. Because this section is about, our
Yeah.
services or whatever the heck it was.
Having a small hissy fit, I'll explain it to you when you turn the page.
Well, our pages are different, so where are you?
I'm on stormwater management systems. I jump, I'm sorry.
You're just ahead of us.
No.
She's always done an overachiever.
Oh, so this whole water section, Emily, you're saying is going to be elsewhere? This
Well,
chart, all this stuff?
So let me scroll back and, again, my page numbers are different. But we had the discussion that we had flagged for update by Drew.
That was the fire and EMS.
No, or maybe I'm by Wayne, excuse me.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be.
Where? What?
And now I'm scrolling back trying to find it.
Okay.
Talking about these formulas that they have for the,
Okay, here we are. Currently, the town's major constraints to develop are linked to water and sewer capacity. Both systems are at or nearing maximum service. It's the beginning of section 5. It's sort of like midway towards section 5.
This section here in 6 is a lot more.
In chapter 5.
Specific on numbers,
Right.
assuming that those numbers are accurate, and I'm not sure they are.
So I'm wondering if maybe we can condense this with regard to either take it out of the earlier section or make the earlier section point to the more comprehensive section rather than,
Yeah, either way. So you don't want to have half a page twice.
right.
Okay.
because it talks about the new facility, the current,
Right. So I think that can be condensed, so the water system capacity will need to triple, et cetera, et cetera. Just say something along the lines of, we'll discuss this later in the chapter.
and if you go to that chart that has, it says current capacity, that's not, I guess that was the old system, the lagoon system? Where it has the formulas.
Which one are you looking? You're looking at this one? This is for the water. Yeah, that's water, right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that is, okay, I see.
So, Emily, that earlier in the chapter, I see it talks about it under a thing called Water and Sewer Master Plan. Is that where you were? Or did you find it somewhere else as well?
Page 57.
57.
Which is 45 for me. So
Oh, 57.
When it talked about the
Oh, oh, oh.
major constraints for development was,
Okay. Gotcha.
that's what she, I think, is
Okay.
referring to.
Okay. Gotcha. So it doesn't need to be specific there. It can
Right.
basically say water and sewer facilities are a constraint to build, okay, whatever. But this information that's here under water and those formulas and all that kind of stuff, that needs to be, that should be in here, I believe, and needs to all be updated with the latest info that our town staff should be able to provide to us.
Because it brought those hillside drive wells They're more or less are online now, aren't they? That increased.
That provides additional sources of water. It may just drawing less from other places and making up with it through the hillside well. So I think we should get all this information that's currently under water and sewer facilities, water, the chart for water, and the same thing for the sewer and the sewer chart. We should get that updated through probably Gary
Gary or Wayne.
Wayne. Michelle, you had something you wanted to,
Yeah, I'm griping.
62.
On stormwater management systems, you're up in E. Well, you all can decide. I think almost all of that first paragraph is perhaps of historical interest, but no longer necessary. But the county does have a variety of regulations, and the town has not adopted them. The town does not adopt these regulations as its own. There is a general statutory rule that county laws are not applicable within municipalities within the county. If the municipality wants the rule to be applicable, it exempts itself from that exemption. I apologize, but I don't know how else to word it. So it is for those regulations as if the line between the town and the county does not exist. People say all the time the town has adopted the regulations. If you adopt them, you got to enforce them. And you don't because you can't, because you don't have the staff. So these regulations are applicable within the town, but not because the town has adopted them. So the way to say that without going through that whole dog and pony show is, whatever regulations you want to refer to and why and when they were done, that's up to you. But these regulations are in place, are applicable in the town, and through the town-county agreement, they are implemented by the county, however. However you want to just grammatically reword that. But when I see the town adopts these regulations, a small bell goes off in my head every time. It happens all the time. But everybody does it, so it's not just you. It's a weird thing, I know. But you can look at that first paragraph. I think all that first paragraph is just history. This is what they have, not when they got it or why.
Talking about under E, the stormwater management.
Yeah, I mean,
That first.
there's stormwater management and water resource management and the floodplain. The town or the county has a variety of development regulations to address stormwater management and other water resource issues, as well as floodplain management. These are applicable within the town and monitored and enforced by the county or implemented by the county, or however you want to word that. And I think but I'm not on the planning commission. I think that is all you really need there, is to say they exist and they apply. this whole plan, we've been talking about it. There's so much general recounting of what seemed to be fairly interesting historical information. But I don't know why it's necessary in a plan to see what the philosophy was of an ordinance that was passed now almost 20 years ago.
I agree.
So what were we talking about, eliminating the first two chapters, or?
The first two paragraphs?
Or first two paragraphs.
I think there's more than that that can be
Yeah.
eliminated.
So what you're saying, Michelle, there is no agreement between the town
Oh, no,
and the
there
county?
is definitely an agreement. There is a town-county agreement. We sign off on it. Everybody signs
Yeah, I
off
saw
on it every year.
every-
The only thing is that the county regulations are not adopted by the town.
Okay.
They are applicable in the town. So if somebody wants to know what the town's stormwater management law is, we don't have one. We are under the county one.
That whole section can be taken out then, can it? Stormwater management system.
Essentially, yeah.
I mean, if it's all county.
Either that or just a basic statement, maybe.
Well, I think, it's perfectly worthwhile to say there's a series of regulatory structures in place for development that review a variety of environmental concerns, however you want to put it. These are applicable in the town.
So the water resource element that is talking about, the WRE,
It's not an element, it's a management.
right, that's
It's
not.
an ordinance.
Right,
That's applicable in the town. Because if you go to the very, very beginning of the code, there's a whole list of county ordinances that the town has statutorily exempted itself from the exemption. It has put us under those county laws, but it does not adopt them. Animal control, cable television, a whole bunch of them.
is it necessary for us, I'm looking at what those water resources functions were, is it necessary for us to
I don't think so.
put them in there?
I don't think so. It led to the creation of a manual. Just say there's a manual.
If anybody's keeping score with all these deletions.
I was going to say, are you keeping up with all this?
Whatever, I don't know what page you're on, but this is 53 for me after all those deletions.
Well, it's only 58 now, so you see, we haven't done much.
Well, no, I'm on 68.
Yeah.
We're
Not
on
in
my
mine.
book. My book is 68.
68.
Well, I'm missing something in mine then.
So have you caught up to the stormwater management?
I now have, we've deleted all those bullets, the town, and I've got some language that I'm going to play with, led to the creation of the manual, and the county regulations are applicable in the town based on exempting from the exceptions. I'll try to.
I wouldn't even do that. Don't try to do that. I'm telling you, it's a nightmare. Just say applicable within the town.
Right, yeah, you don't need to.
The town of New Windsor and Carroll County developed a WRE, which I think is actually a good thing to say for the municipal growth area.
Yeah, I mean, however, I don't care
Just put in our lawyer
Just
lingo.
don't say you adopted them, because it just drives me nuts.
Do we need to put in the soil characteristics, or that's a little too
That's,
much?
Oh, gosh.
it's dirt and it's
Yeah.
brown.
Yeah, so,
It's karst
by the way,
terrain.
my brother is a civil engineer outside of Detroit, and he was just telling me that they recently updated the system in Dearborn so that it no longer goes directly into the river when you flush.
Yay.
Finally, into the 19th century.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so Colorado wasn't a thing there, I guess?
Only a little.
Yeah. Recreation. Are we
Yes.
good with,
Yes.
okay.
Abigail, do you want to see if you can get the updated, or is that you?
For recreation?
As of December 2009, slightly less than 41.5 acres of recreation lands.
Didn't we have a map? One of the maps showed
Well, there's the map that showed,
town parks, town.
Yeah, it is on one of the maps.
Yeah.
is that like a synonymous with recreation then? Or
Is
is
it,
there, like,
or did it
non-
show like sewer facilities?
Oh.
That would not ordinarily be considered recreation.
No, these ones have,
Few green dots.
these have picnic tables. That's a picnic table, right? Is that a picnic table inside the square dome?
Yes.
So that would be a park, not
that-
not a pump station,
I'm just asking.
I'm assuming. I can't tell where they all are.
The one at Meadow Lane, I don't see any picnic tables. The one up in their development, that's playground equipment.
Top.
I think it's
top
just,
lot.
it's just the icon the county uses for parks, is a picnic table.
Okay, so they're all then
Yeah, map 7.
parks.
Looks like the tennis courts, the Lions tot lot on Lampert,
So we'd have to verify that it's
the corner up here.
41, well, whatever the
It's not-
acreage is, I don't.
That's parks, that's not really recreational fields or nothing, because it doesn't show the Lions ball field.
Are those thresholds, are they still accurate? Using the threshold of 30 acres of recreation land per 1,000 people, half of which must be owned by the city, is set forth in the 2005 Carroll County Land Preservation Park and Recreation Plan.
I'll see if there's,
No idea.
I can see if there's an updated version of that. That's an easy Google.
Michelle, is that something that is,
Well, do we want that in here? Because those things change.
those things change, but I guess, yes, they change. My concern is there some kind of, I don't want, it's not a law, is there some kind of, we're supposed to be meeting
I was gonna say, are
this?
we creating a yardstick that isn't there by putting it in here? I don't know of one, but I know that when residential developments are done, those numbers are used as part of, do you need a tot lot, blah, blah. But I don't know that those are statutory or just practical. We can try and find out, I just
I
don't
mean,
know.
my concern is, this is 30 acres per 1,000 people. Well, we're closing in on 2,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have
We don't have
anywhere
60
near
acres.
60 acres
No.
of park,
No.
And
unless we get rid of about half of the 2,000 people.
Right. That would be easier
No,
to do.
I
than get
don't
30 more
believe
acres.
that that's any kind
Okay.
of a statutory
Thank you, there's
requirement
the word.
that,
Yeah, okay.
that I'm familiar with.
Evidently, it's just a formula the county came up with. The parks and, county parks and recs.
I have found the 2022 plan. And I'm looking to see if they got anything. Okay, it's based on national guidance, the National Recreation and Park Association.
So Michelle, it's kind of interesting, if you read that whole paragraph,
No, I'm not sure I have the same paragraph as you, if you're 10 pages ahead of me.
you have something that starts as of December 2009?
Nope.
Slightly
No,
less?
my paragraph starts with the county's 2005 land preservation and is just one paragraph long. So I don't really know how it is that I have a different plan. Most of it was the same until this chapter.
Is, section F.
Recreation.
And it's very, it's a,
It's 2.5 pages long.
yeah.
No, mine is one paragraph long. So I got the good one. You got the long
Maybe
one.
that's the one we need to adopt.
I don't know, honestly. Mine, this says 2007, revised October 14th, 2008, and I've been working along with you the whole time, and until this chapter, it's been just about
Same
the
as,
same.
The same.
same as, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, what else is in it?
Well, it talks about applying this threshold with those 1,000 numbers and stuff. It says the current population of 1,421, using that, approximately 47 acres should be provided, of which approximately 23.5 acres should be controlled by the town.
Well, we don't have any of that.
Well, we have some amount of acres that fall under our parks, but
Yeah, but-
that's interesting, though, information that could possibly, at times when the town was trying to figure out what they're going to do with parcels of property.
That's true. I guess that down
like-
there is a
like
big
this
chunk
would
of land.
This would provide a bit of a stick to say, we need to do this, you know.
Who are
and
you
as-
going to hit
as-
with the
as-
stick, though? I mean, are you talking about getting funding for it?
Well, I don't
or-
know, yeah, anything to have that kind of information, right? We would not recall that. Of course, we may not look at the comprehensive plan and find it either, but.
But do you want it to be in mandatory language?
Well, no, I'm not saying mandatory, and I'm not saying necessarily, reading this again, that it's mandatory. It just
Okay, 'cause
says,
it
using
sounded
using these thresholds, here's where the town sits.
It's where the town would prefer to be, yeah.
Right. So it could help us with funding, right? To do stuff down there in that whole area to make it parks, because we were meeting the mission of our comprehensive plan and the recreation.
Actually, it is one of the few times that your plan is dusted off and looked at is in the grants process. Because that is where a lot of the funding agencies, the places in Annapolis that have money to give away, look at. That might help Mike out when he's trying to get money.
So there could be some, if we updated it with the latest, and it was based upon a national thing or whatever, we
Recommends.
yes, recommends, yeah, not statutory, but anything like that, because it could backfire and
Yeah,
Shoot
yeah.
yourself
You know.
in the foot.
But it could,
Whatever that group was, the National Recreation and Parks
Something or
people.
other. And the 2022 version of this, which I can send when I send the notes, the updated, actually gets into equity and stuff, which would be interesting if you're using it to apply for grants and loans.
Careful what you wish for.
Where there would have to be some creative writing is that in spite of that, we still fall high above the national average.
I like that, yeah. It's because we've got 2 empty lagoons, but
Yeah.
okay, so there is some stuff maybe we can rework under that recreation thing.
yeah, keep
Show
some.
where we are and to at least provide some future guidance of maybe, help us in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know that we need all those. At least on our plan, we have a whole nother page that talks about all kind of stuff.
Kind of an inventory of what we currently,
Well, you want to
What we
make sure your
currently
new
have.
park is in there.
Hmm?
Your new park.
yeah, well, that would, I mean,
That's somewhere else too, we made sure it was in, I forget where.
it's interesting, the inventory also includes carnival grounds.
Which we don't own.
But it says you don't have to own it all.
Yeah.
Right?
This has to be
Yeah.
available for
Right.
recreation.
We have to own a certain percentage of, we're
That's a
supposed to
23 or,
earn
yeah.
a certain percentage of it, but it's available,
Recommended.
yes.
They even mentioned the triangle there at Springdale and 31.
They used to play cricket there.
Cricket, yeah, they used to
all the
play
time.
cricket, yeah.
All the time. Yeah,
Was it Sunday evenings, Sunday afternoons?
yeah, they were.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to,
It was.
Did you British people move away?
I don't know what happened.
yeah, it was,
So are there any, I think there's tot lots at Snyder that would have to be added.
Is there a tot lot up there? I don't remember.
Oh, it's Nader's? Oh,
No, I
no,
haven't.
no.
I don't
I haven't
think there
seen
is.
it.
I think we just talked about that the other night,
Yeah, I
right?
don't think there is one up
I don't think
there.
there is one, and I don't think there's a planned,
No, I don't think there's going to be one up there.
right.
Yeah, I
They have
think
that
the-
walking trail
Mm-hmm.
that connects
That's
down into
extended.
town. Yeah, I think one of the plans, there was open space for a tot lot, but not the way it ended up, when it was that traditional neighborhood design.
Yeah, that one. Neo-tradition.
has it been determined whether that walking trail will be turned over to the town when everything's,
Thought it was supposed to be
I
turned
think it
over to the
is, I think
town.
it will be, yes.
That's my recollection. It's going way back now. I'd have to look again, but.
I think they're kind of stretching, that said the Wooden Hillside parcel adjacent on Blue Ridge Manor, adjacent to the stormwater subdivision, the stormwater management facilities. Hey, that's kind of stretching our
They're saying that's recreation area?
existing inventory of park and recreational facilities, yeah. They did redo that water retention pond, but is that usable for 3.23 acres?
No swimming.
Well, it's typically dry,
Yeah,
and I don't know if,
I don't think the town really wants to encourage
Yes.
recreational use of
Yeah.
stormwater management facilities.
probably be frowned upon.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a big net.
It's got a pretty good list, of stuff that we can, go through and make sure, but a couple things have to be added, Fountain Park and things like that, but. Does it have the butterfly trail? Yeah, the Atlee Trail?
Yeah, that
Yes,
would be the
okay,
Atlee Ridge
yes.
Trail.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. That's it.
It does mention the trail for the just initiated Snyder Summit project. President, they mentioned the planned rerouting of Main Street and Springdale Avenue.
We've been talking about that a long time.
Yeah. Conveyor, they put a conveyor belt, so that it mentions about over the park or Sobel's Fields, but that's been.
Neither of those things happened, so that just kind of,
Yeah,
this whole section
It's-
just
it's
needs to
just-
kind of be rewritten and some stuff taken out.
now there, the population projection of 2025 by 2027. That was pretty accurate.
It says right there, Michelle, we need to acquire 5.6 acres of additional land to meet our threshold. So, we certainly don't want that in
No, we
in our,
don't want to mandate anything that we
Yes.
have to do.
yes. We can't have that in there.
We can say it would be sure nice if we were to do that, but not that we need to or must.
So we do want to maintain some of this for possible.
I would think some of it, I don't know that there's a problem showing our inventory
No,
in there, what we
I don't think
have,
so.
things like that.
For possible like grant writing or however.
Yeah, I mean, I think it doesn't hurt to
That's
show
a
it. I
grant
just,
writing, yeah, that would definitely.
I don't want you to be boxing yourself in with the future. Like, we will acquire 5 acres from who?
Yeah, can't think.
But, hey, G. Hibbert's got some land.
I'll definitely say that part about the rail spur, that can be eliminated.
Yeah, for sure.
Ball fields are there, they don't get used at all hardly anymore. With skate park, that is pretty popular.
It doesn't talk about the disc golf either.
Yeah, that's something that's been, that's in you know, in that
It's on-
ridge trail,
That's on both sides.
both sides,
That's on
yeah.
both sides, isn't it? Yeah.
I think there's 6 or 7 holes on the baseball
Yeah.
side.
Of course, if you let in there about using the Blue Ridge Manor, using their stormwater management facility for play, you know, they say these poor people gotta play in the in the stormwater management.
New Windsor, that's considered recreation.
Yeah. Well, we were kids, that would have been fun. That would have been.
Kayaks, we
Yeah.
can put over there. I don't want that liability.
No, thank you.
That you mentioned about liability, they have listed our carnival grounds, but we really tried to discourage because of liability.
Oh, yeah.
If there would be a divot or something and a kid would be playing there and, you know, break an ankle or something, or they gotta come back on the farm. So we do either, you know, discourage using that other than for parking.
Other than for the purposes for which you want it to
Yes.
be used, you being the fire company. Single-handedly,
Yeah.
you are the fire company.
No, they don't consider the ball field part of it,
No, no,
Carnival
just strictly the grass area where we would put
Behind the-
rides for carnival.
right? But that could be still considered a recreational facility because the town may come to you and say, hey, Drew, we want to have a town something there.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
guys, the fire company says, yeah, go for it. So
Yeah.
we don't have to own it,
Yeah.
but we
I
can
mean,
use
Yeah,
it.
when it,
Limited.
like the neighborhood night out, I think there were vendors in the grass and
National
good
Night Out,
example.
right, and,
so,
well, heck, we used the fire company bays for recreation,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
We had our music on the
Music
main
on the
there,
main,
right?
Music near the main,
Yeah,
what we called it that day.
Do we want to try to push through to hit
I'd say,
7,
how late do you
or-
guys wanna?
Or do you want to pull it here at number 7?
You know,
Michelle's book is not, do you have any of this stuff in there?
I have anticipated funding mechanisms, yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
I have the topics, I just don't seem to have all the detail.
You have 2 paragraphs under this? 3?
Yes, Town of New Windsor and each chapter of them.
Yes.
okay, I've got 8, 9, 10, 11. What's your, what's the consensus you wanna?
Push through, we want to kill it.
Doesn't matter to me, Ryan, you, the County Road fall asleep.
Been up since 2:30 this morning, so,
Then you
my.
should be sleeping.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm fine either way, so.
you wanna just, or, I mean, what do you think, Dave? Dave?
I'm looking at my notes that I have here. I don't have,
I don't have a whole lot on this section. In fact, I don't have anything, but
I got a couple little things, but nothing major.
to me, this seems, you know, I mean, you know, your capital improvement plan, to tell you the truth, I thought that would be more substance to it than would it. The way some of the other stuff was written up.
Yeah, but it's not really about the plan, it's just about the existence of the plan.
Yeah. And that still holds true, the 6-year capital improvement.
6?
What?
5?
5?
I thought it was 5.
Okay.
It says 6.
Yeah, it says
It says
project
6,
6
but-
years. That's kind of an odd,
I believe Gary always,
I thought Gary
5
referred to
years.
it as 5. That's something that we can check and confirm.
Maybe that's just a typo, I don't know.
Maybe that used to be 6. Gary's a go-getter, you know, he may have moved it up.
That coincide with any terms of the council or mayor?
Nope. The only thing that was 6 years used to be the master plan. You were used to, the state law required that it be reviewed every 6 years, and they changed that to 10. So it's not even 6 anymore.
We don't even have a real,
You don't have a written down master CIP?
I don't believe we do. I think Gary adds things into the budget over a period of time.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I've seen, maybe not lately, but just, we anticipate in 2 years we'll need a new truck,
Right.
that sort of thing. So that's the nature of the capital
Yes.
improvement. It's not like here in the file is the capital improvement.
Yes, I
plan.
don't think we have.
I don't think you're right. I think you're right.
So I think those first 2 paragraphs, the second one I think needs to be reworked a little bit where it's talking about the
Cost associated with
the new wastewater treatment plant and, not new.
He no longer knew wastewater treatment plant.
Those two paragraphs, I think really what this is talking about, right, is financing mechanisms to support
Yeah.
all these things we just
Everything
talked
that
about.
comes up that
Yeah.
you need to finance.
And so, the first paragraph is okay
Yeah.
for the most part, and the second one I think could be reworked a
Yeah,
little bit.
you don't need specifics,
Yeah.
because that's not really what this portion of the plan is for.
Yeah. So I'll just put revised there. And then the last paragraph where it says typically, and that's still typically where money comes from.
yeah.
Doesn't come free from the Maryland Department of the Environment, but
And come free from many places.
That next chapter is pretty much still, what the town provides is still pretty much,
For 8,
yes,
yeah,
that looks all right.
this is exactly the same.
What does but 8 itself, any burden on services, what does, and then what it talks about is what we do, and then the heading is any
Yeah.
burden, I don't,
Well, I think that if you served outside your town limits, that could be construed as a burden, say, if you have water, your water system, if you served water outside the town limits, that could be construed as a burden on the ability to serve within the town limits.
okay.
I think it's a little tortuous, torturous, not tortuous, worded, but,
For the most part, it's okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Or
now-
you could say something as simple as any services which the municipal corporation, or for which we'd be responsible outside the municipal growth area, and then you say, we don't do that. So that the text is the same, this 2 sentences, But yeah, that seems a little verbose.
I'll see if I can.
See if you can unverbose that.
All right. 9,
Townsend. Longstanding goal of creating a green belt, isn't most of that was dictated by the ag preservation?
It's sort of an interesting way to word it, that the
Makes it-
property owners have voluntarily placed development restrictions, which they did. They were compensated for it, but it was a voluntary program.
I mean, that's, I don't have
It's
a
not strictly altruism.
I don't have a real problem with 9.
Stating a part of the state code. It's gonna hurt the, you know,
That 66B thing, didn't we have a lot
Yeah,
of discussion?
66B has to change. It's the land use article.
yeah.
So that's a true statement. I guess
Yeah,
it's-
yeah.
You know, okay. I guess, does it need to be there? I guess it's there. That was a heading that was, so, okay. 11.
Same with 11. That's just, it is
Yeah,
what it is.
I mean,
The first paragraph, first 2 paragraphs. Okay, so that's the Hibbert property thing. That's still hanging out
Floating
there.
around.
Still around, okay. So the 2007 part turns into the latest update.
yeah.
Last paragraph can go away then?
Yeah, I mean, that was the lease
The
property.
lease property.
Yeah, that's done.
Old
Yeah, that
old
can-
news, that's
Done
gone.
and dusted.
All right, we did it.
We good on that, Emily? Up,
I think, so we're keeping the first 3 paragraphs, we're taking away the last paragraph.
Yes.
yeah, the growth area, yeah, that was reduced,
Okay.
yeah. I'd say we
Yeah, that was a good
got
chunk.
got a lot,
That was a good
I
chunk.
mean, we got a lot accomplished.
I'll put
and-
a start here flag.
70, page 73 on some of ours.
Yeah,
Let's not be rigid.
chapter 7 was
Yes.
where we will start.
Chapter 7.
Which will be page 58 for me.
Do I have any announcements or anything for the good of the share? Michelle,
Not I.
Dave, or, saw your community made a really nice contribution to the deputy
Yeah.
and to the fire department.
Yes.
That was greatly appreciated.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Really well.
Yeah.
Very nice, yeah.
Do you have anything?
I don't have anything additional.
We're having a carnival May the 23rd to the 27th. So,
Okay.
so that's about anything I have for us.
And you said they're having rides?
Yes, we're
And
having-
possibly a parade, I hear.
We are having a parade on that Wednesday of that week. That'd be the 24th. Pardon?
Oh, in May.
May 23rd to the 27th. I think that's what it is. So,
Cake
it's the
Central.
same ride outfit that they have for the Westminster's Fall Fest.
Yeah.
We're able to, hopefully the weather holds off. It's, so. Anything else, Ryan, you got any?
I'm good.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Dave for adjournment. Any second?
Second.
Ryan seconds. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carried.
Done.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank you all.
all.
Thank you all for coming and working through that. I know it's a little bit tedious.
Yeah.